All right, Power Rangers Dino Fury Season 2 is airing currently on Netflix, at least the first half. We still got to wait a little bit more time to get some of those cliffhangers settled. But Russell Curry, Zeto, the Red Ranger, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, Joe. How are you?
I'm doing extremely well. Look, first question I have for you is Power Rangers has been around for almost 30 years. Talk to me about your first introduction to the show and how did you discover it?
I actually watched Mighty Morphin Power Rangers as a kid, so I am one of the OG fans. And I don't even remember how I first discovered it. It was just one of those things everyone was watching it at school, so I had to watch it too. And I quickly became a huge fan. You know, I watched it all the time with my older brother, and yeah, Jason was my guy. So to be Red Ranger now was just kind of more than insane. Like it's pretty crazy.
Power Rangers is now on Netflix, and Dino Fury is really the first season to break away from the general network television and going with the streaming services. And people say it's the future. I feel like it's the present. Everybody's watching Netflix now. But with something like Power Rangers, it really helps advance the storytelling, mainly because it's more episodic and you can follow it along a lot easier, especially for young children. Like I have a 6-year-old and she's able to binge and consume it like nobody's business. The question I have for you though is, you know, now that we have this coming on Netflix, has it been the same for you guys in terms of shooting? Because it feels really like the action this season has just upped its level tremendously.
Yeah, there was no difference in shooting, which is kind of crazy even to me to see the final product.
Right.
Because, you know, for us, we were there for 9 months shooting seasons 1 and 2 back to back. So for us, the process was exactly the same. But, you know, I got to watch these episodes for the first time really recently, and seeing, you know, the amount of action that there is and the intensity is just a whole nother level. I was like, man, we are getting our butts kicked all the time. I didn't even realize how different it was going to look on screen. And I'm loving the way that it looks now.
Yeah. It's almost fascinating binging it. It almost feels like binging an anime. It
Yeah.
has like a lot of these, it has a lot more twist than I was expecting episodically, but even in season 1, I mean, I don't want to spoil it for anybody that hasn't seen it, but there's a midway point in season 1 where your character Zeto is almost, I don't want to say directly responsible for some of the issues, but kind of, right? But there's this sense of responsibility your character takes on. And I feel like we're getting really in-depth storytelling with the characters. Can you talk to me about the character of Zeto and how we've seen the progression of that character from season 1 to season 2?
Yeah, I think that midway point is probably the biggest like watershed moment for Zeto, because up until episode 16 in season 1, you see him as one way, and then there's this giant revelation. And I mean, we can spoil a little bit if you haven't watched season 1 yet. Come on, people, let's get on it. I'm just kidding. Watch at your own pace, but make sure you watch.
Yeah.
So as soon as episode 16 comes out and there's this revelation that Zeto is largely responsible for the entire problem that we're facing, yeah, there's a shift in how he's probably perceived, but also the responsibility, and you see a little bit more of what's working underneath the surface for him. And that shows up even more in season 2, with his confrontation with Void Knight that we see in episode 9, which is a pretty intense scene, if I say so myself.
And you know what? Let's talk about some of that, because as Power Rangers, you guys get to do comedy, action, adventure, and you know what? And this one particular episode, a real deep dive into drama. We're actually seeing real character progressions going forward, and real struggles, real moral struggles that a lot of these characters have to go through. One of the episodes in season 2 that blew me away was your scene with Tarek. I want to talk about that a little bit. I know we spoke about that before, but you went to a new place there, and that's not something that you know, we expect so much on Power Rangers, but it's also super gratifying. Talk to me about it as an actor, about working on that scene, especially doing a show like Power Rangers that is full of comedy, action, adventure, but it really can give you real moments.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I mean, hats off to Simon Bennett, our showrunner, and our entire writing team, Becca and Alwyn, and everyone else involved in constructing this show that the way it is. To have the storylines that we do is just such an incredible gift to receive as an actor, um, on a children's television show, which isn't that's not necessarily always the focus.
Right.
And we were blessed enough to have that, because of that team. And that particular scene we're talking about, this confrontation between Zato and Tarek, is very intense. It's probably the most intense scene that we've had in the show so far. And raising my voice as Russell Curry is not something I do very often. Uh, Zato, we've never seen raise his voice at all. And, to get into this confrontation of being very, very direct, very angry, and finding out what's boiling underneath the surface is, was a lot to was a lot to get into, just not just because of who I am personally, but also because of who Zato is as a character. But it was really fun to do.
It's incredible. Now, one of the coolest moments in season 2 also is the training between Zeto and Chance that happens with the Dino Knight armor. Can you talk to me about your initial reactions to that scene?
Oh my gosh, so fun. It was so fun. I mean, I love each and every single member of this cast so much. We all have our own special, unique bonds between each other, and Chance and I just always have so much fun. And when we were shooting that scene, it was really cool to, yeah, that was one of our first scenes one-on-one that was more intense together. Just this whole planning of how we're going to help each other out, and he's going to help me train to figure out how to defeat Void King. And ironically enough, because Chance and I have so much fun and we laugh together so much, we have this really intense moment that ends with us staring each other in the eye. And I think our director was messing with us that day, because they waited a little extra time before calling cut. And I think they wanted to see if we were gonna break. And we totally did, because it was too much. It was too much. It was such a fun time though. And I think the scene turned out great, but it's just so much more fun watching it, knowing that it's before that cut happens, we're cracking up.
Right,
Or right
right.
after that cut happens, Chance and I are cracking up.
Something that's very unique to Power Rangers is that you guys go through this fabled boot camp. All about the training and everything that kind of leads up to it. If you were explaining to somebody what the Power Ranger boot camp is, what would you tell them?
Man, I mean, there's a boot camp that happens prior to shooting, but I think of the entire experience as boot camp, really. I call it Power Rangers University, because we learn everything that there is that you could possibly experience on any set. I think we do. With the exclusion of maybe like night shoots. Luckily, we got to shoot during the day all the
You
time.
got to
So that's
sleep
one.
sometime.
Yeah, we got to sleep sometimes. So I'm grateful that that's kind of the only one that we didn't experience. But yeah, I mean, stunts, acting class, uh, special effects, ADR and voiceover, pyrotechnics. Like we literally lived through it all in this course of 9 months, and it's really cool. It's Yeah, I mean, no one can take that away from us, and it's such a blessing and an honor.
Now do you have directing experience and producing experience as well? Going through this, what you call Power Ranger University, what are some of the lessons you learned from that you now be able to take on to further ventures? Oh no, are you frozen? Uh-oh.
Russell, can you hear us?
Hope you come back
Oh,
soon.
there you
I'm
are.
so sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay. All right. Sorry, I missed that, but just repeat the question. I
No,
got
all
you.
good, all good. The question was, as you explained at the Power Ranger University, I mean, you're an accomplished director and producer as well. What did you learn throughout that Power Ranger University process that you're now going to be able to take on through some of those other ventures, producing and directing specifically?
Oh man. I look forward to doing some production and directing work again in the future. I think it's probably on hold for a little while. I really want to focus a lot more on acting at the moment. Thank you for even knowing that. But yeah, man, I just got a masterclass in what all of those things mean, and having a little bit of experience on that side of the camera, going into this experience for 9 months of watching greats, you know, just absolute greats like Simon Bennett
Right.
and all of our amazing directors do what they do. I took so many different gems of how to communicate with actors, um how to imagine what shots you need to get, how to imagine, you know, the most efficient way of getting all your shots and communicating with crew. It was, man, I could go on forever. I can't really even narrow it down, but it was awesome. It was awesome.
Now, a lot of people may not know this, but you guys shoot the show in New Zealand for an exorbitant amount of time. You spend months away from home, and especially in a pandemic, I can only imagine how that was like. But how do you cope with the sickness in a completely another country when you're essentially doing your job for an extraordinary amount of time in hours in the day? It's like what, like 12 to 15-hour days or something. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was a trade-off. You know, we were gone for 9 months and we didn't get to come home at any point during that time, which every other Power Rangers cast in the past is able to. But because we were dealing with the pandemic, there wasn't enough time for us to leave and come back, go through quarantine, et cetera. So, you know, it's a bit of a trade-off, but you know, when I told my dad, I was like, hey, I'm gonna miss Thanksgiving and Christmas this year. He looked me dead in the eye. He's like, it'll be worth it. And that's really what it was at the end of the day. And, you know, I think it helped bring us together as a cast. We were each other's family out there, especially the fact that um, Kai and Chance got to bring their partners and their kids along. You know, we got to have these real, like genuine family experiences all together. So, man, yeah, it was tough being away from home, but I think one of the things I would joke about is that even if I was home, a lot of the interactions I would have with people I really care about were going to be over Zoom anyways.
It's true.
So you know, it wasn't that much different. It was just dealing with the time difference. So yeah, I got to Zoom with my family on all the big holidays and stuff like that. And you know, I missed as little as possible, but you know, it was still challenging, but we did what we could.
I absolutely love your outlook because you really do embody like the Red Ranger. You know what I mean? It's kind of crazy. Look, I got to ask you because you guys did 22 episodes in season one. We have currently 11 airing on Netflix now, and I know that we have 11 more to go. Try to jog your memory back if you can, and bring me back to your favorite specific moment you were shooting throughout the course of this Power Ranger journey for you.
I can't choose a favorite. It's like choosing between kids,
Right.
man. But I'll say the one that's sticking out to me right now is my very first day on set was the first day for any actor. I got to shoot by myself with the second unit all day, and we shot a lot of those scenes of the backstory, Zeto's backstory in episode one. So that was all my first day. Um, and during that day, I got to shoot the scene of me riding the T-Rex.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, that's just an iconic shot for
Yes.
me. I think that's one of the, like, so many people get to do so many awesome things, but have you ridden a T-Rex though? Like I get to say that for the rest of my life.
That's
So
amazing.
that one's always gonna stick out to me.
Somebody that is a brilliant collaborator on Power Rangers is Simon Bennett. Can you talk to me about working with Simon and the collaboration process? I know that he started off in Power Rangers as a director, and then kind of took over as the showrunner. But it feels like his fingerprint is really all over the Dino Fury season. So, can you just talk to me about working with him as a collaborator?
Oh man, I cannot say enough good things about Simon Bennett. He's just a magnificent collaborator. He's a legendary director in his own right already in New Zealand. And for anybody watching this who hasn't seen any of his previous work, like go look it up, go check him out because he's just, I mean, the word's thrown around a lot, but the man's a genius. And the show is not what it is without him. And I'm very, very proud of this show. And you know, collaborating with him, he's very actor centric. He wants to make it a collaboration between us. He's not telling us what to do. He's asking us what we think and how we can all bring this together to be the best thing it can, which is very Power Rangers if you think about it.
Yeah.
And yeah, teamwork and bringing people together. It's awesome. And I just feel so fortunate that we got to be his first season of Power Rangers.
I know that there's a lot of talk about things that are rumored for the future and things like that. But maybe we can talk about things that either never happened or maybe you wanted to happen that got left on the cutting room floor. Was there any ideas that you may have had about Zeto or any of your other cast had about their characters that maybe didn't quite work for the better, or even for what you thought you think that maybe that really would have worked?
No. I can't speak for anybody else, but I would put money down to say that if there was any idea that anyone had to make the show better, and it made sense, it's in the show.
Sure.
Yeah, and that's another blessing of having such a collaborative team, not just Simon, but the entire, all of our directors and writers, and our stunt team as well. Yeah, when we thought of things on the fly or in table reads or just in discussions, if it was a great idea, it made it into the show.
That's one of those things people never talk about. Power Rangers is a very unique show that blends, like I said before, action, comedy, drama, but it's literally taking an element of another show's country and infusing it with this American sensibility. And I can't really think of another show that really does that. So just in terms of innovation, and I know that Power Rangers has been around the air for damn near 60 years, or 60 years, 30 years, 30 years. 60 would be a long time, but almost 30 years. During the course of that, with Power Rangers being so reliant previously on the Japanese stuff, and now with Hasbro and Netflix, do you think we're starting to move away from what it used to be into something like, especially with Dino Fury, what it is now? Dino Fury almost seems like it could stand on its own, completely outside of the Ryu Soldier.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about. I mean, seeing, from Mighty Morphin, which, if I'm not mistaken, every single fight scene was Sentai footage.
Yeah.
And now we've got, this show where there's maybe on the episodes with the least amount of Sentai footage, it might be a couple shots,
Wow.
and it's crazy to watch this show evolve the way it has. And I love seeing our stunt team and our second unit and our action directors get to shine because they are so creative, and some of these original fight scenes that we have are just like mind blowing. I'm like, and we don't get to be there to watch them get filmed. So we see them for the first time when the episode's completed or when we're doing ADR. And I'm just like, what? How did you even think of that? So it's really cool to see the evolution of the show, and I'm liking where it's headed.
It's amazing. Now, any past Rangers, past or present, that you would love to team up with?
Oh man, like I said, I'm an MMPR guy. So Jason was my favorite. I'm actually team Jason, but Jason and Tommy are both absolutely legendary and leaders. So, I can learn a lot from those guys. Let's bring them on, man.
Now, a question that gets asked a lot: Power Rangers has so many cool props. Is there anything that found its way into your house from the show?
Uh, do I have anything? It's surprisingly none of it's here. I have a couple Dino Fury keys. I have a couple of my Red Ranger Dino Fury keys, which I should have put on this display here, but those are probably the only things that made it, unfortunately. But I mean, I keep them. I look at them every day.
That's amazing. Now, Zeto, he's obviously an alien, and we have a little bit of Rafcon. Let me ask you something about Rafcon. Without getting into spoilers, I'm gonna try to see if I can frame this question without getting you in trouble.
Okay.
What can we expect to see from Rafcon going forward? And is that something that's going to surprise the fans?
Yes.
Okay, that's a great answer. Fantastic answer. Now, another question I have is, what did you want to bring to the world of Zeto that wasn't on the page from season 1 to season 2?
Ooh, I think we were able to add a lot of humor just through our collaboration. Again, like I said, we had such amazing collaborators in Simon and everyone else. So it wasn't actually a difference between 1 and 2, but starting from season 1, there were little jokes and ideas that I had and came up with along with our directors and stuff like that that were not originally scripted and made it into the final episode. I'm very proud of them. I'm very happy to point them out anytime that I'm watching episodes with people. I'm like, hey, by the way, that was me. That was me.
I love it. I love it. Look, season 1 and season 2, we got the return of Lord Zed, which is one of the most iconic villains in Power Ranger history, without also giving anything away. If longtime fans maybe wanted to explore some of the past mythology, is there a certain season, storyline, or story arc or character that they should be looking at to inform them for the second half of Dino Fury season 2?
Ooh, that's a very good question. Um, I think it's better just to leave a little bit of mystery in the air, my friend. But just know that season 2 has got some surprises and some twists and turns for you, and it's gonna be good, man. I cannot wait to see fans' reactions to it. It's gonna be awesome.
I can't wait either. All right, so I got to ask you, without giving anything away, you've been pretty good so far. What can fans expect from season 2? I guess part 2 of Power Rangers Dino Fury.
Season 2, part 2, you're going to have. Should I say that? No, I'm not even going to say that. There's a lot of questions that will be answered. There are a lot of questions that will be answered. And there's so many twists and turns that you are not going to see coming.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Last question I have for you. Can we expect to see you guys, the Power Rangers Dino Fury, Power Morphicon?
I wish I knew the answer to that. Yeah, I would love to be there, but we will see. We will see. Because unfortunately, because of being the pandemic Rangers, I've never heard that before, but let's make that up right now. I don't know if that's a title we want, actually. Let's maybe think about that one.
Right.
But being the Ranger team that was chosen and selected during the pandemic, we haven't had an official like face-to-face interaction with our fans yet. And I'm hoping, that we get to have that in whatever form it can come. I'm really looking forward to meeting all of Ranger Nation in person. So
Yeah, I mean that's one great point. I mean, usually it's a Power Ranger tradition, if you will, for the current cast to kind of pass it down to the new cast. And unfortunately, through the course of the pandemic, we got it digitally a little bit, but during the course of the pandemic, we didn't get that Beast Morphers, Dino Fury, like, hey, these are our new guys. But hey, hopefully this next Morphicon, we actually get to do this in person and see you guys live and in person answering all of our questions. But Russell, you're always a pleasure to talk to. You're an amazing
Likewise.
guy. You embody the Red Ranger. And look, I mean, I know we both live in LA, but go Clippers, right?
Go Clippers. Thank you so much, Joe. You're one of my favorite people to talk to. So
Oh, you
man,
you too.
always a pleasure, brother.
Absolutely, man. Take care. Have a great rest of your day. I appreciate you, Russell.